We're live?
We're live.
Cool. Yeah, let me So that's the Bible you're telling me? Green?
Yeah, it's one I was carrying.
New Testament.
I believe so.
Symbolism. When I was younger, I used to like have a rosary always.
What is a rosary?
It's like
I've heard it before. You think by 2021 I would know what the hell it was.
oh, this is fascinating. I mean, I'm digging into my Christian. I've been as a younger, like molded over the earlier years to Christian practices and belief, and then when I get a bit,
Piece of stick bro.
yeah, nice.
Very chocolate.
Oh, chocolate, yummy. So when I get a bit older, I served it as an altar boy. So I'm pretty say I handled a lot of like what you call this activities for the church, not only mass.
So the rosary would be part of our Christian.
Yeah, it is. So it symbolizes the life of Christ.
Okay.
So each bead,
Something
there's a
like
prayer.
something
There's a prayer for each bead. So the first 5 symbolizes the initial start, and then it composed of like 50 or 25. See, I'm mistaken now. But it's like there's 5 stages to the life of Christ, from the birth to the end, to the death. So that's
that just represents all of it.
which is what is fascinating for the Christian belief is it's like the crucifix itself. You see, it symbolizes a really different way of conceptualizing God. You're like seeing His sacrifice, but if you're gonna look at it as strict, I'm not criticizing Christianity, but it's like, see, your God is like pinned down in a cross, which the same practice is applied to a lot of history even. It tells that if you did something really, really bad, you're gonna pin down in a stick up in the air. And it's weird that we're symbolizing something in our pockets or even in the churches. Our God in that scenario, right?
Yeah. You see, I'm not into religion anymore. Because I was taught you should never question the Bible, but I didn't know you couldn't question religion. And I question religion.
Oh, different things.
I kind of looked into everybody's religion per se and what was different about it. And to me, it's a lot of differences. But it's almost like they all pull what part of the Bible they want to fit their religion. Because at the end of the day, everybody's religion got the same message.
Would you believe your criticism is a part of what one of the greatest philosophers is? Criticism to Christianity and what he's telling that they failed. They got, Christianity got a lot of right things. They abolished slavery. They made sure that a peasant and a king is the same, equal to the eyes of like a higher power. That never had been before, because in the Muslim tradition and in a lot of like earlier traditions, the shamans are higher than the tribes people. They dictate the lands who will be sacrificed. These kinds of things.
Yeah.
That was abolished when Christianity enveloped that like principle.
I mean, the way I see it, anything from like some like 100 years ago, more serious, more realistic.
That's true.
As time changed, all of it started to slowly change. Because you go to church, the Bible tells you, come as you are. You ever went to church as you were? But you ain't gonna tell us dress like that. The Bible told me, come as I was. Here I am. What's the issue? So a lot of people, to me, they use the religion, the church, as an image to say that I'm a good person.
That's what Nietzsche is criticizing.
So
It's like
because of that, I might not trust religion, but trust that there is a God. Only one. He exists, whoever he may be. Buddha, Allah, whatever you want to call him, Jah. it all refers back to God. He comes back. And you know, he is love one another, keep peace on it till he comes back. Every religion finishes on that note.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Every religion finishes on the note that you got to keep peace on earth, love one another, and he'll be back. And if every religion ends on that note, that means there's only one God. So, my father used to say religion was, it was broken into religions because you can make money when you break it down. You can't make money without competition. There's no win or loss without a compete. So, to make money off religion, there had to be more than one. Everybody had to have their own opinion. Then you can make the money off of it.
And to close loop people from leaving, make sure they only believe in one thing.
Yeah.
That's the bad, and like, or the worst part is, people not believing in what you believe is the other. It's the other team.
And the Bible tells you, treat people together as a church. So if he was to join us, we thought, well, that's a church. There's no need to actually go to the building. It's about praising God, it's not about this building.
Yeah, that's true.
And a lot of people have lost that concept now. I'm not trying to knock people from believing in their religion. If it's your religion, you believe in it, believe in it. I have my opinion about it, in that all religions are valued because they all pull part of the Bible out of it.
I have to agree on that. And the thing is, the hard part is, this what I'm gonna say is taken from, like, let's say, extremist ideas, and it's like people who have lost their way. The atheist, it's not atheist. It's like, if you, it's the atheist.
That would people, right?
Sorry.
So that would people atheist. That's what you call
No. Atheist is like there's no God. It's like
okay.
nihilism.
All right. So that's kind of.
It's like,
that's one of my. That's both of my brothers, I think.
But the thing is, what I'm trying to dig in is like, people cannot just create their own belief systems. And if you're not that, it's not easy, I mean. There are few people that could, like maybe you and me.
Okay.
But the thing is, most people need religion.
Most people need some kind of, back to the art justice. That's what it is. It's an art. Most people can't determine without having something like an art or somebody to say this is what you should do. Some people just don't know how to walk that road on their own and figure it out. It has to be figured out for them. So,
Yeah, and religion solves a lot of that. It's like there's like end goal to what you would do on the course of your life. That's how it's being framed, but which is great. It produces a lot of like great communities,
it does.
great families.
What it does to me, I used to look at it when I was a kid. If this one person we call God, if he is Alpha and Omega, he knows everything that's going to happen already. If you knew everything that was going to happen in your life from this day forward till the day you die, could you be stressed out?
That's freaking stressful.
I mean, you could, but then if you knew it, how could you? Why would you stress?
Yeah, why would
you already knew everything that was going to happen, so you just pull up your cup of coffee and sit down. So I look at God like, if he knew everything about everybody, where we were going to end up, why does the religions and church try to set it like he's uptight in person? I don't think he's uptight in person. I really think he's laid back and chill. Just keep peace on earth. I'm peaceful, I'm just laid back and chill. Love one another, I love you all, but y'all doing stupidness, but I'm just chill. So it's like they try to push, I don't know what I want to call it, because on Sunday you gotta put on your Sunday's best. Why can't you put on Saturday's best and go to church Sunday? Why couldn't you wear Friday night's clothes and go to church on Sunday? What's with this dress up?
Yeah, that's the.
What are we trying to do? Who are we trying to? I don't know what we're trying to do. Who are we trying to impress? Because I find it as everybody is trying to impress somebody. And especially here with the locals, my people, I find a lot that a lot of people only want things just to say they have them. A lot of people have this thing about having it over the next man. Oh, I got this, you don't have.
Yeah.
And this is mine, this is yours. So it's like, and I started to realize church is kind of set up in that aspect. I'm here with my best. Pastor has his own parking, either a Bentley or a Ferrari. Or you're a pastor.
It's fascinating.
You know?
I mean, it's really
You
fascinating.
should just come and park wherever you park. You should have, I mean, if you're crippled and you're poor and you got a dedicated parking, it makes sense, but you're just a regular young guy, so go park where for? You're here to teach the word of God, my name is all about offering. You gotta put that in that plate. You gotta. So my question was when I was a kid, my mother never used to like it. So you telling me God made man? Man invented money. Now God's asking for your money. Because the Bible says you gotta give 10% or whatever. Or whatever it is in the Bible, they say. I don't think he's really should ask him for money. Because you, my mother was telling me I put $1 in this offering plan as a kid, is building my house in heaven. And more money is bigger than mansion. And this concept drew me crazy when I was a kid, because it's like, so you're telling me God wants money. How? He invented us. We invented money. Why would he jump over us for money? Why is he going to jump over the human that he created for the money?
Sure.
That makes
That's
no
really,
sense.
yeah, that's really complex.
Makes no sense. So
complex analogy when, especially you're a kid.
Yeah, and for me, because of the family I grew up in, and nobody was nice. I found that out like recently. You know, everybody was kind of had this evil vindictiveness.
Or turbulence.
And I was explaining this to a friend of mine the other day, like, people tell me I'm too nice. And I'm like, now I'm realizing, yeah, I am, but that was a choice I made based on how I grew up. Because I could have been like everybody else, but I saw everybody else and they were miserable, and I'm not doing that. I'm pushing to be nice, but it's still like me to be miserable because I'm still trying to be miserable.
Dude, there's a lot of case to like take the high heat and accept it as neutral or become resentful. But that is the most stupidest thing that you're gonna do in your life. That's why I take that other route too, because in the Philippines I've dealt a lot of like crazy stuff too, like my cousin trying to like stab my uncle, my gay uncle at the time. I'm in the middle. At the time I didn't know how risky what is being in the middle of a knife and a scissor.
So, okay, it's personal, this is personal, but me, I don't really care because at some point kind of truth will come to light. I witnessed my mother stab my father, I witnessed my father try to take a butcher knife, chop my mother, and I witnessed what saved my other brother. The drama hit, he went inside his room, put on his PlayStation, his Nintendo, and he locked away from the world. Me, like an inquisitive person, was going, what's going on? Let me see if I can help. Let me see if I can stop it. Kind of wish I never did none of that, because now it's got me all...
Yeah.
And when I try to talk to them about it, they bring me some kind of... To me, I want to close it and move on, but I can't close it with all the pain and doors still open, right? We got to resolve that before I close the door. Because if I close the door, that's still bottled up inside me. Closing the door is just going to bottle it. So let's talk it out, get it out of the way, and then can close the door. My mother refuses to talk. A lot of things she's told me when I tell her that she said them, she denies it. She won't say she said it. So I've just got to the point where you're just going to have to close the door and deal with the pain differently.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like, I was explaining this to one of my niece's friends, sometimes you're just not going to get the answers you want.
That's so true.
You're just going to have to accept that. I mean, we all want closure, but we wait on closure for some people, and they'll die before you get it. And usually, like, they die. So just kind of, the people who haven't died, and you don't have closure with, kind of treat them as if they died and move on, because not even hold yourself up. And I've been holding myself up for years, trying to get answers out of parents and people. This is the work. Just it.
Yeah, it's like I've had those kinds of scenarios. Scenarios too. Like
all the lights are on, darling.
yeah, we're in closure. I mean, when I was younger, that time, it's like constant chaos. And it's like nobody could. And my grandfather at the time, it's hard for him to like explain stuff.
Both my parents are drunk. My older brothers are drunk. I learned late in my sisters to be taking up the drinking habit. I started off drinking when I was young, but I got somewhere in my 20s, I want to say like 27, 28, and I kind of just went, hey, being drunk and having fun is fun. Waking up that hangover is not. So there's got to be a limit when you stop. You drink a couple of drinks and you're ready to start a few drinks. I just kind of end it right there because I don't want it to get any worse. I don't want to crash with him.
Good morning, guys. Good morning.
We're sure this comes with age like that. But then I see some people that are still lost. My father says, As we speak, he's in the hospital. I was there last night. He was there on his birthday, and when I left the call, I found him. They couldn't find him. When we found him, I found he was in Shady on his birthday. Apparently it was black out. We took him there. He took him out, and now yesterday I get a call, and he's there again. So his blood has been picked up apparently. So they got to pump it out. And he doctor asked him about drinking and stuff. You know, no, he live there. And I had to go get his car from the move. And the moment, the migraine bottles are laid all over his car. He knows he's drinking. He's not even that. So it's like, I don't know. I lost where I was going, but
Yeah, you're telling about
that's kind of on my mind why I'm not too focused right now too. Because he's like me, he never tell nobody, man. So,
I mean, that's real life. I mean, we can like disentangle ourselves from the people we.
fun fact about me, because of how I grew up with my parents, I've learned to challenge everything and question everything. And I think people find me annoying for that. I might know my argument is wrong.
No, I just laughed because I'm in the same side.
And people tell me I should be a lawyer for this, right? But I know my argument is wrong, and I know yours is right. But I'm going to argue with you because I want you to explain your right so I can understand it. Right? You can't just look at me and say 2 plus 2 is 4. I know it's 4. Please explain to me how you got to that. Like, break that down for me. I want to understand. No one knows. I want to know. And you know, I think I said it yesterday. Funny. Knowledge is defined by knowledge is refined by the wisdom or by the wise and divine. I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
Knowledge is refined by the wise and
It's like
divine.
I'm gonna add a layer to that. Like I'm on the same side too. It's like I like to challenge things. When I feel a person coming to me and it's like his argument doesn't add up, I'll challenge it for him to like make sure that he. What?
You don't want it?
Later.
Oh.
Yeah. You want to come on video? No. So it's like I'm gonna try to challenge it, but
You turn on CNN, yeah. Oh wait, there's no more Trump. It's gonna be boring.
where was I?
Challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing is, see how responsibility work in a society. It's like my right to speak is your responsibility, right? So that's why you're challenging it.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna challenge it, I'm giving you that right also because I'm responsible for that freedom of yours, right? That's how society works.
Yeah.
But that's why there's a lot of like this ramblings about freedom of speech, taking down the ability of people to like criticize ideas because they feel the postmodern thinking. This is a great topic that we should discuss. Postmodern thinking. It's like what I believe is the only thing that's the truth. Truth. That's really bad, man. It's like I'm not accepting that you have the right to question my idea, which is supposedly in a real grown-up society, adult society, is taking responsibility for each people's right.
I have to say, it's not easy to say grown up adult responsibility. A lot of people say high school is pointless, right? But I say it's not. High school is exactly what it's teaching you. When you leave high school and you enter the real world, unless you mature, you're still in high school. Because I am 34 and I've seen 43-year-olds and 63-year-olds still having issues as high school people would.
It's weird, yeah.
Right? And it's like, did you not mature from high school? So, no, high school was just say, this is what you're going to end up being, and you're going to be part of this foolishness. So, high school is kind of a guidance if you use it right. I don't think education needs to refer to high school per se, because he may have a degree to do a job, and I may not. But he trained the both of us, and I could possibly do it better than he can. Even though he has that degree. Because not everybody is paper or a book friendly, I want to say.
Yeah,
Some people are more hands-on and more experience friendly. The best pilot that came in the US had, to me, and he was the one that ended up causing the jet to run off the runway in 1991, but it wasn't his fault. It was Harrison Bothwell, and everybody people tell you that he He knew what he could do. He could book, he could add, he could subtract. He did the basics. But his skill was when he got behind that control of that brain. You saw the skill come to life. It was like the book didn't mean nothing to nobody. It was like, this man could fly. This man knew the plane. This man knew what was happening. And that's kind of like me. I'm not going to tell you what the book says. Okay? But the book is just a guideline. You can break the guidelines of the book.
As long as you know the book.
As long as you know the book. That's right.
Yeah.
So, know the book, but take it to the street. Some people, they don't want to know the book.
Yeah.
There's book smart, street smart, and then there's just, to me, knowledge. And knowledge would be, if you can learn the two put together, the most knowledgeable person. Some people are street smart knowledge, some people are book smart knowledge, some people have both.
So it's like, again, responsibility. It's the way you attacking a certain field of expertise, like aeronautics, flying a plane. You should learn the book. That's a responsible thing to do. And then, if you need to like improve or improvise and like, change something along the way, you must know the basics.
Why I like about pilots, you could have 9 degrees. You could have master's degree in this, a bachelor's in that. But whatever. They don't give a shit.
Oh,
How much
interesting.
flight hours do you have?
Yeah,
Because we want the experience. We gotta know you flew a plane for 3,000 hours rather than you had a book for 3,000 hours. Because when the plane starts and you shit in the sky, the book won't do nothing for you. You gotta know how to fly that plane.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
that's one thing I like about it. You have to have experience to be a pilot. They're not just taking you. Some people have more education than some, but the hours don't matter.
It's weird, right?
They're taking the hours over the book.
It's like how they come up with that idea. It's because also you're gonna fly a multi-million thing. They want to protect their investments. So it's like there's a value to if you like, and this also correlates to the people on top, the billionaires. They never studied, right? So it's the experience is more
That's why I
valuable.
tell people, a lot of the billionaires don't have master's degrees or don't even
Yeah,
have degrees. Some of them don't have.
It's the same logic.
Makiba Bush, the speaker of our house, whatever, the great leader of government business, premier one time. A lot of people need to understand that this man did not finish high school.
But what's
He made it to where he's
Yeah,
at
but
without
he was-
finishing high school. He got all his other degrees and stuff after when he made his money, could do his thing. But he made it to politics without finishing high school. And I tell this to people, the paper shows me you spent the money, you went to school, and it shows me you straight A and you're smart, you got it. What can you bring to the table other than this piece of paper? You can hire a man that has a degree that they say they trained him to drive a forklift. He spent 4 years in Harvard learning to drive a forklift. I spent 5 years at Mark Motors operating a forklift. Who has the most experience? The man that operated a forklift has the most experience versus the man that studied. That's what gets me when people get tired because of this paper. It helps. I know what you're looking for with the people, but find out the experience too. Because that is the teacher, and that's where you save the money.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. It's
That's where you
like
save the money.
that creates more value.
Because you, like I said, regardless of what education you have, the job you get still requires training.
See, it's like I'm gonna build on that thing you've said. The 4 years experience, you don't need to teach him. Let's say you don't need to spend 2 months training on the guy when he starts. He's gonna start. He's gonna produce for the company on the onset. This guy who is new, who studied for 4 years and doesn't know the forklift still, we're gonna go to the company. It's this customized forklift. He has to train. You
And
got-
most likely the person that's going to train and operate the forklift.
So
will be somebody that
so
has
you need 2
to-
people now. The person being trained and the trainer to be on top. It's like, and then it doesn't produce any value for the company for the time that it's training. So it may be half the value of they're gonna create.
That's why I used the forklift for that example because Mr. Gilly has so much faith in me in the forklift. Like when bombs I'm gonna go. And I've operated forklift for 5 years, but I've never had to move tiles. I've never had to move slabs. You know, slabs you gotta slide on that little
Yeah.
device and pick it
How
up
was
and
it?
move it. That is fun.
It's fun.
But you know Gary that works on them when he
Sure,
shuts
sure.
tiles? I moved the tile onto the slab over on a cut now, right? And he looks at me and says, this is your first time moving a slab? I said, no, I moved one yesterday. And he's like, and he comes up to me and says, it's one of them, when people come here and they know how to operate forklift, boy, but they can't do what you just did. And I was like, do what? He's like, a lot of people can operate the forklift, but to know how to maneuver and get that slab to go where you were going and do all of that, you did that with ease. And he said, you got skill. I was like, thanks.
Rock on.
And I was like, yeah, it was my experience behind it. I've never moved a slab, but I know how to operate the forklift, and I've operated the forklift in some places that I know. And just watching how that slab's working, I'm like, I kind of know what to do with the forklift. I can't stop the slab from doing what it was doing, but I know how to operate the forklift, keep that where
And Gary is one of the experienced ones there, and you've seen a lot.
I think it was Wilson said that too. Wilson said, this is your forklift, man. I said, what do you mean, my forklift? You operate good, man. This is yours. So I said, you want me to take it home then? I drive it home like that right now. Yeah, I drive it home. I mean, it'll take me 3 hours to get home from work, but hey. And that was all because of experience. So it's like...
Mr. Ely doesn't need to like, okay.
And I saw that with him. I saw that with him in the interview I had, like how he read through my resume. He's looking for experience too, not necessarily for people. I mean, if you have it, you have it. But he's looking for that experience.
Yeah.
Because he wants to make sure that when I move a tile or a slab, he ain't gonna break it.
I mean, Mr. Ely has
Yeah,
been to a lot. I mean, he's even been to a war in Lebanon. So it's like, so it's like he knows what he wants.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very rare now to see people like that, to be honest. That's why it's a privilege to be here. In the pandemic
I've worked in a lot of
learning.
places. I've seen a lot of bosses. I've operated under a lot of bosses. I ain't seen nobody like him who operate like him, and I like him for that. I just do.
Yeah, we're
I'm
characters.
because I'm not trying to make anyone into bosses or any friends, but I just like how you operate with everybody. Not just you, like, you're not like you're picking a favorite. Everybody's the favorite here. Do your work.
Yeah, just do your work. That's
If
it.
you do your work and everybody did their work, I don't even know. And you will get paid. And that's how it should be. So,
Yeah, it's fascinating to be like being here, learning. It's a great place to learn.
experience is always the best
Imagine at
teacher.
our age, we are loving learning.
I gotta tell you this, I'm gonna say this. I never used to like it. Like, I never used to want to read books or. I just had this.
Oh, interesting.
I just had this hell-bent thing in myself that I knew I was doing. I
Fair.
just, from the
That's
time
the-
I was young, I just
Dude,
had this.
That's the postmodern idea. I know.
Well,
What
the
I know
problem
is the only thing.
Yeah, posts before, right?
Yeah.
Because somebody once told me, he said, Reagan, you have old ways. I was like, what do you mean I have old ways? You have old Western ways. I have modern day ways. And I was like, and that means you have good ways. He smiled. And I was like, and that means you have what? He's laughing. He walks off. I was like, you got bad ways and modern day is bad? Okay, I guess what he's saying. So, but I was always that person. I just, and then it's so funny. At the end of
What
this
kicked
note,
you? What kicked you to like loving learning? I mean, what pushed you?
I guess
Problems. I think
I guess
problems.
I ran out of things to learn, so I had to find stuff. I don't know. I kind of experienced it also. Like, let me read. I would say it was Joe Rogan's things that started making me. I like to challenge things, and it's watching that podcast. And
They
listening to
challenge.
him,
They challenge.
It started making me want to challenge things more. So, and once again, you know, if I'm going to talk about something, I really don't want to look like an idiot talking about it. So let me just at least know, even if I know just the basics of it, let me at least know. We cannot talk about, I worked with Barn Motors for years, we cannot talk about changing a shock on a car. I can't tell you. Because if somebody in the shop, I say, hey, my shop needs to change, my change. There you go. I can't tell you how to change that shop, but I can tell you how to change the oil and filter in my car. So I can talk about that. Let me talk about that. So I don't know what to talk about experience now. Because growing up as a kid, I used to try to impress people and talk about shit I didn't know, like I knew. And if you don't know, you don't know. And I want people to know that if you don't know, just don't be afraid to say you don't know. Because the only way you're going to damn know is if you don't. And that's the only way you'll ever know is when you don't. And you go, hey, I don't know.
What triggered me to this state is something like that, but it's like more deeper because when I did the business in the islands, oh, we're out of time, but this is the last thing, but it's like somebody like really outmaneuvered me in my ability to think. That got it's like it's a malevolent thing.
That'd be sad if it wasn't recording.
You think the audio is good?
Yeah, it should be.
Okay.
What was you saying?
High school. College.
Yeah, I would have gone back. I mean, if I had this knowledge, then I would have definitely wish I could go back and try to make something now. What I'm hearing now, and I know I'm not I ain't going back.
Yeah, I love the craziness of getting here.
I love how I got here. Now, before I didn't used to like it, but now that I'm looking at how I think, I realize I think more outside the box than a lot of people. I think faster than a lot of people. And I can see solutions faster than a lot of people. I don't know if this upsets my friends and they think I'm trying to be perfect, but I grew up with my mother and she's just a person where there's no problem, she makes them. And even when it's not a problem, she makes one. So to explain this quickly, I had her car the other night, I went out, and when I stopped at this girl's house to sit down and just chilling, there's Iguana Shit all over the car. And I just started laughing. She's like, what are you laughing at? I was like, here's the challenge and I'm up with now. If I take the car home, that Iguana Shit, go to bed, mom wakes up saying Iguana Shit, she's gonna cuss me, so I think alright, cool, I'll take the car home and I'll wash it. But if I take the car home and wash it, she hears me washing, she yell and cuss me while washing the car this time. So it's like
irony is like
either way, it's going to be a problem. And that's the thing with my mother, she always found problems. So I grew up with this, let me find a solution.
Even for Iguana Shit.
Even for Iguana Shit. And she looked at me and said, you don't need to go home to do that, you can just use my hose here. And I said, sweetheart, that was the conclusion I came up with already. I wasn't going home like this, I was going home clean. Because it's like, because once I go outside and use that hose and that water pump comes on, who's using the water? Why are you doing the car outside? Going to shit.
But yeah,
going to shit in your car, so that couldn't wait till morning. Like, no, it could not, because you would wake up before me, see it, and you would wake me up past me, it's just like, no more. So I always grew up with a challenge of
seeking. The
finding that solution
this
in
is
everything. And that's kind of pushed me away from customer service. I worked it for cable wireless at one point in time, and I realized I don't like solving problems for people. I did that my whole life. Right? So it's like I don't like solving.
Like
if I want to solve problems, it's problems I want to solve for myself, a person, and work on that. I don't want you to come and say, well, we're phone, it's 2021, Google it. There's no need for you to get your car and drive to the shop to come look at me to tell me you can't figure this out. Google it. You will find the answer, believe it or not. Somebody has a form somewhere, somebody has a problem somewhere. You might come up with 6 different solutions to fix your phone. Challenge it and do it yourself. Don't come with it. But you can't tell that to people. You want to have that human interaction.
Unfortunately, we're social creatures and bangled to maintain this society.
I think
despite the craziness.
I think the best thing COVID did was social distancing. It helped.
It helped.
To me, yeah.
Partially.
Here,
because we're.
That was my excuse, because if somebody comes around me and I don't want it, like I said, hey bro, social distancing, please. Well, I just wanted, no, we don't need 6 feet, please. You know what? It's COVID. I'm coughing. You should come in.
You can do that.
And then they call me and ask me.
So, I'm gonna borrow your SD.
Yeah, hold
And
on.
maybe edit that.